Bisco is known as the most dangerous terrorist in the world, but he is actually on a noble mission, to search for a legendary mushroom capable of curing all diseases. Years ago, a massive explosion shook Tokyo, leaving a giant crater in its wake. Shortly after, a horrifying plague known as the rusting disease spread, corroding living beings and objects alike, turning them into barren wastelands. A few human settlements managed to survive, shielded by massive walls that protected them from the rust winds, but even within these walls, the inhabitants gradually succumbed to rust and died. As the old civilization collapsed and was replaced by a dieselpunk-style dystopian regime, society grew fearful of mushrooms, believing that their spores were responsible for spreading the rust. The government outlawed all forms of mushroom cultivation and trade. However, a daring group defied the ban and called themselves the Mushroom Keepers, spreading giant mushrooms wherever they went. Among them, a red-haired young man named Bisco is the most feared. Nicknamed Maneater Bisco, he has a terrifying reputation. It is said that he can shoot a single arrow and instantly cause giant mushrooms to sprout over a vast area, making him the #1 fugitive. One day, at a checkpoint leading to Amama city, a monk whose entire body was wrapped in bandages attempted to enter the city. The border officer then checked the monk's identity while saying to be alert for a fugitive. The immigration officer mentioned Maneater Bisco and mocked his name. Meanwhile, in Amama city, a young doctor named Milo ran a small clinic, treating patients at low cost and earning the affection of the townspeople. His older sister, Pao, a captain of the city guard, was suffering from advanced stage rusting disease. Determined to find a cure, Milo secretly experimented with mushrooms, despite their government-imposed ban. He purchased smuggled mushrooms from food vendors and relentlessly worked on developing a medicine to save his sister. Although his efforts had yet to yield significant breakthroughs, Milo planned to step out to buy supplies, bidding farewell to Pao, who had just heard news of chaos allegedly caused by Bisco. After buying food, Milo was pickpocketed and gave chase, following the thief into a narrow alley. Suddenly, the thief attacked him from above. However, upon realizing that Milo was a woman, the young, inexperienced pickpocket hesitated and ran off. At that moment, Governor Kurakawa approached Milo, sneering and dismissing his efforts to help others as futile. Soon after, chaos erupted in Amama city. As the monk handed over his documents at the checkpoint, the officer demanded to inspect his baggage. The monk claimed to be transporting the body of a fellow monk for a final pilgrimage and even mentioned that the body contained a venomous centipede to slow decomposition. Intimidated, the officer allowed him to pass without further inspection. Bisco was shown destroying a government military helicopter using his mushroom arrows. He created giant mushrooms to distract the armed forces. Amid the chaos, Bisco had a brief encounter with Milo, who was intrigued to see a mushroom keeper in person after only hearing negative stories about them. Without lingering, Bisco fled the scene. Pao, enraged that the mushroom terrorist had invaded her city, prepared to lead a pursuit. Milo, excitedly recounting his encounter with the mushroom keeper, tried to stop her. However, Pao knocked him unconscious to prevent him from interfering. Meanwhile, Governor Kurakawa scolded a female helicopter pilot for failing to capture Bisco. As the chapter drew to a close, Bisco approached Milo, desperately asking for help in treating Jabi, his mentor, who was gravely injured. Back at the border checkpoint, the officer grew suspicious of the monk's disguise and questioned why he was carrying a bow on his shoulder. He reached for his weapon and tried to distract the monk while preparing to confront him. Realizing his disguise had been discovered, the monk tore off his bandages, revealing himself to be Bisco. Nearly struck by the officer's gunfire, Bisco retaliated with an arrow that instantly grew a giant mushroom on the control tower, destroying it. The officer and his assistant fled in panic, sounding the alarm. Bisco approached Milo, pleading for his help in treating Jabi, who was gravely injured. Milo quickly prepared for emergency surgery to save Jabi's life. However, Kuro's forces had surrounded their location and opened fire without hesitation. Facing this dire situation, Bisco proposed a bold plan, to make their hideout fly using his mushroom arrows. Milo was shocked but could only watch in silence as Bisco prepared to execute his idea. The scene shifts back to the border, where armed forces mounted on war hippos pursued Bisco. He revealed that his cargo contained his injured mentor, Jabi, and a giant crab they used for transportation. The war hippos unleashed bullets and mortars, but Bisco shot 2 of them with mushroom arrows, causing mushrooms to grow on their bodies and immobilizing them. Another hippo fired at the crab, but its sturdy shell remained unscathed. Enraged, the crab fought back, knocking the hippo down. As more hippos arrived, Bisco prepared a specialized arrow and fired it into the ground. A giant mushroom sprouted, and Jabi guided the crab to climb it. Just as a hippo lunged at Bisco, he used his immense strength to lift and toss the creature aside. The giant mushroom then exploded like a spring, launching Bisco, Jabi, and the crab over the checkpoint walls. In another scene, Governor Kuro scolded a female pilot for failing to eliminate Bisco. She defended herself, claiming that while she couldn't kill Bisco, she managed to injure the old man with him. She also revealed that Bisco's bow was powerful enough to pierce military aircraft. Kuro resolved to eliminate them before Pao's forces could intervene. As they fled, Bisco noticed Jabi's condition worsening due to advanced rusting disease. He lamented that ordinary mushrooms wouldn't suffice, they needed the legendary Sabikui mushroom, Rust Eater, rumored to cure rust entirely. Jabi, however, appeared resigned, saying he didn't care how much time he had left. Bisco, furious, refused to let his mentor give up after all they had endured. Jabi, amused, praised Bisco as his greatest student and the true heir of mushroom keeper techniques. Suddenly, a missile targeted them. Bisco shot it down midair with an arrow, destroying it. The incoming threat turned out to be a strange flying machine, a winged snail-like creature modified as a weapon. Jabi warned Bisco to seek cover under the crab as the snail plane spewed acid. Bisco narrowly avoided the attack and attempted to shoot it down but was bitten by an electric eel, temporarily paralyzing him. As another missile approached, Jabi shielded Bisco with his body, enraging Bisco. With a furious shot, Bisco fired an arrow that struck the snail plane, causing mushrooms to engulf it. The pilot, a masked woman with rabbit ears, bailed out before the craft crashed. In the city's underground, Milo treated Jabi, astonished at how the old man had survived such severe injuries. As Bisco prepared to distract Kuro's forces, Milo stopped him, refusing to let an injured person act recklessly. Milo tended to Bisco's bleeding face, causing Bisco to awkwardly thank him. Meanwhile, Pao learned from her subordinates that Kuro's guards were pursuing Bisco. They also reported the destruction of Milo's clinic. Furious, Pao resolved to chase Bisco herself. Bisco interrogated the female pilot who had attacked him. She revealed her opposition to Kuro's regime and her intention to quit her role as a weapon pilot. Suddenly, the sound of Pao's motorcycle drew closer. A fierce battle erupted between Pao and Bisco, with both fighters relentlessly attacking each other.
Who taught you how to drive? License revoked, lady.
In a city surrounded by tall walls, an emergency broadcast echoed through the streets. Reports of dangerous mushrooms emitting toxic spores urged citizens to take shelter. Tension gripped the populace. At the main gate, people saw what appeared to be either a giant mushroom-like creature or a massive pile of mushrooms. Panic ensued, as no one had ever seen anything like it. Amid the chaos, rumors spread that Milo's clinic had been attacked by terrorists, and Milo himself was missing. Kuro's guards approached the woman in the rabbit helmet, informing her that Bisco was at the west gate and ordering her to handle the situation immediately. Meanwhile, Milo worked in a hidden corner of the city, pumping artificial blood to save Jabi. The patient's condition was worsening due to advanced rust contamination, but the transfusion succeeded, and Jabi regained consciousness sooner than expected, proving himself to be a resilient old man. At the west gate, a fierce battle unfolded between Bisco and Pao. Bisco admired Pao's resilience as she managed to deflect his arrows with remarkable agility. He also noticed her body was heavily affected by rust, yet her movements remained sharp. Bisco explained that the mushrooms he used could actually purify rust. Slowly, he revealed to Milo that mushrooms are misunderstood. Rather than spreading rust, they absorb it. In today's world, the deadly rust wind threatens life, killing countless creatures. Because mushrooms often grow in areas with high rust concentrations, people mistakenly believe mushrooms cause rust. According to Jabi, mushrooms could be the solution, but the public's mistrust, fueled by misuse of mushrooms by some for profit, tarnished the mushroom keeper's reputation. Bisco and Pao argued during their fight. Pao believed Bisco intended to spread mushrooms as a weapon of vengeance, but Bisco denied it, explaining that his goal was to find the legendary Sabikui mushroom, capable of fully absorbing rust. He wanted to use it to save someone dear to him and rescue others from the rust wind's threat. When Bisco mentioned he was traveling with her brother Milo, Pao became enraged, assuming Bisco had harmed him. During the fight, Bisco managed to shoot a tranquilizer arrow to calm Pao. As Bisco prepared to take Pao to Milo's location, he was startled by a noise behind him. He turned, ready to strike, but was relieved to see it was Jabi, who had regained enough strength to move. Overjoyed, Bisco greeted him warmly, though Milo arrived and scolded Jabi for exerting himself too soon. Bisco thanked Milo for saving Jabi, his gratitude tinged with embarrassment. Milo was then shocked to see his unconscious sister. Acting quickly, he administered medicine to alleviate her rust symptoms. Jabi advised Bisco to leave immediately in search of the rare Sabikui mushroom to cure rust disease once and for all. While Bisco initially refused, concerned about Milo's condition, Milo insisted on joining the mission, determined to save his sister from her severe rusting. Parting ways with Jabi and Pao, Bisco and Milo hurried toward the city's exit, but they were pursued by Pao's volunteer soldiers. Jabi stayed behind to protect them, using his skills to hold off the attackers. As expected, Bisco used his signature mushroom launching arrows, creating a giant spring-like mushroom that propelled him and Milo out of the city walls. Together, they set out on their journey, determined to find the Sabikui mushroom and bring hope to their dying world. Bisco and Milo continued their journey across a harsh world in search of the cure for Jabi and Pau's rusting disease. As they traveled, Milo remarked that they might have taken the wrong path, but Bisco dismissed his advice, insisting on his lead. They eventually reached a lush green plain filled with algae, which excited Milo. However, Bisco warned that the area would attract dangerous insects at night, urging them to leave quickly. As they were about to move on, Milo suddenly fainted. When he regained consciousness, he found himself inside a rundown car, where Bisco offered him a lizard to eat. Though hesitant, Milo reluctantly consumed it. Milo revealed that Jabi's condition was critical, with only about a month left to live. To save time, they decided to traverse a coal mine rumored to lead directly to their destination. However, the mine was notorious for its dangerous creatures and unstable areas. To navigate the treacherous mine, Bisco called upon Akutagawa, his giant crab companion, whom he affectionately referred to as brother. Akutagawa's tough body and resistance to toxins made him ideal for traversing hazardous environments. However, Akutagawa refused to let Milo ride him. Bisco explained that Akutagawa despised doctors and suggested Milo dress like an adventurer to win the crab's trust. Even so, Akutagawa continued to reject Milo, forcing him to walk alongside the crab. As dusk fell, Milo kept trying to ride Akutagawa but was met with repeated failure.
Wait, hang on! Focus on his feelings, not...
Bisco encouraged Milo, emphasizing that Akutagawa was their strongest weapon and that Milo needed to bond with him. By the next morning, Milo began practicing how to ride the crab. During their journey, they encountered Chiru, a traveling merchant who attempted to steal Akutagawa. Bisco quickly drove her away, scolding Milo for being naive. Later, Milo tried to treat a minor injury Akutagawa had, surprising Bisco when the crab finally began to obey Milo's commands. By the afternoon, Milo successfully rode Akutagawa. They reached the coal mine but decided to camp overnight at an abandoned temple nearby. Inside the temple, Bisco was shocked to find Chiru again and suspected she was up to no good. However, Chiru was writhing in pain. Milo quickly tended to her, extracting a larva from her body. The larva turned out to be a deadly implant used by Governor Kuro to punish deserters. Grateful for Milo saving her, Chiru flirted with him as thanks, infuriating Bisco, who attempted to strike her. Milo stopped him, pointing out their dwindling food supplies. Chiru introduced her wares, calling her shop Jellyfish Mart, inspired by her hairstyle. Although her inventory mainly consisted of weapons, she also offered food for sale. Milo took a butter biscuit and insisted Bisco try it. However, Bisco grew angry when he realized Chiru was charging them for the food. Later that night, Chiru discarded gasoline, believing it was useless since Bisco rode a crab. Suddenly, Bisco woke to violent tremors and found Milo missing from his bed. Chiru came running, shouting that the temple was the shell of a massive walking fortress-like creature. If left unchecked, the creature could destroy the coal mine they were headed for. Bisco ordered Milo, now riding Akutagawa, to target the monster's head. Though hesitant, Milo commanded the crab to attack its weak point.
Akutagawa, jump up! Right there! Do it now!
Bisco followed up with a perfectly aimed mushroom arrow, striking the damaged area. The combined attack stopped the monster, but it managed to fire a cannon blast, destroying the coal mine entrance. With the mine's entrance blocked, Bisco began planning an alternative route. Meanwhile, Chiru disappeared, taking some of their money. Left with fewer options and limited time, Bisco and Milo pressed on, aware that Jabi's condition was worsening. As they moved forward, they encountered a group of children trying to survive in the harsh world. The children were caught stealing watermelons and retaliated by attacking Bisco, who was holding one of their friends. This scene underscored the desperation and challenges of life in their dystopian world. Meanwhile, Pao raced through an abandoned city in pursuit of Bisco. In another area, Bisco was confronted by a boy named Natsu in a slum. Natsu accused Bisco of kidnapping his friend, demanding he release him. Bisco, frustrated, explained that he was just a traveler passing through, but Natsu refused to believe him. In an unexpected move, Bisco pulled out his wanted poster and declared himself as Akaboshi Bisco, the infamous fugitive sought by Kuro. He suggested that Natsu could capture him and turn him in for a large bounty. Hearing this, Natsu allowed Bisco and Milo into their territory but had them chained, a plan Bisco had anticipated, though Milo remained skeptical. As they entered the area, Bisco and Milo were shocked to see the state of the children's living conditions. The place resembled a refugee camp, filled with orphan children. Bisco was taken to a different room, while a girl named Plum was assigned to watch over Milo. Elsewhere, Pao arrived in an old town where she found corpses. Suddenly, she heard screams and rushed to find an elderly couple being attacked by a giant spider monster. Acting quickly, she killed the monster and saved the couple. Grateful, they invited her to their home, offering to fix her damaged motorcycle. The old man explained that bandits were likely responsible for sabotaging her vehicle. Plum served Milo a bowl of clam soup and released his chains. Milo asked about the state of the town, noting that even children carried weapons. Plum explained that every year, pufferfish monsters attack and eat the children, while the adults work under Governor Kuro to support their survival. That was why no adults were seen in their camp. Milo noticed shell-like growths on Plum's hand and examined her condition, concluding it wasn't caused by the rust wind. Meanwhile, Pao was warmly welcomed by the elderly couple, who revealed that they once lived in a nearby town. They blamed a mushroom keeper who had set up a medical practice there, claiming his treatments caused a rust disease outbreak, which drove everyone away. This deepened Pao's hatred for mushroom keepers. However, Pao grew suspicious of the couple after discovering skeletal remains inside a cave near their home. She overheard their plan to poison her tea. When the old man attacked her, Pao revealed she hadn't drunk the tea and fought back. The couple unleashed a skeletal corpse that emitted explosive gas, setting off a chain of explosions.
Sorry to break it to you, hun, but we put poison in that tea! Weak!
The rust in my chest was just aching, that's all. I don't paid off. Figured you were the ones that set that trap, and I was right. Hurry up! This way! Get back here!
Well, damn. This might be it.
I agree. There's only one plan we can use at this
Realizing
point.
they couldn't defeat Pao, they detonated the cave's entrance and fled. Bisco, now unchained, ate a meal prepared by Natsu and noticed a spear mounted on the wall. Natsu explained it belonged to his father, who had been killed for defying Imahama's government. He kept the spear as a reminder of his father's sacrifice. Bisco suggested that Natsu should use the spear rather than leaving it as a display, angering Natsu. Meanwhile, children called out to Milo, celebrating his successful treatment of their illnesses. Natsu ordered Ko to guard Bisco. Ko showed Bisco a map, catching his interest. Bisco admitted he understood the route but needed help reading station names. Ko, who admired mushroom keepers for saving him during a rust wind outbreak, gave the map to Bisco as a gesture of gratitude. Natsu, now cured of his shell disease, thanked Milo and asked what he wanted in return. Milo requested Bisco's release, but Natsu refused, stating the bounty was crucial to protect the children from the annual pufferfish monster attacks. Suddenly, an alarm blared, signaling the arrival of the monsters. The children were shocked, as it wasn't the usual season for the monsters to attack. Natsu theorized the changing weather had depleted their food sources, forcing them to hunt early. During the attack, Ko was swallowed by one of the monsters, but Bisco quickly used Natsu's father's spear to kill it. Natsu was stunned to see Bisco escape his chains, and Bisco revealed that rusty chains couldn't hold him. Bisco saved Ko and demanded an explanation of the map, admitting he couldn't read. As Ko explained the station names, Bisco used his mushroom arrows to eliminate the monsters.
On the Shirakawa line is... Kijinezuka!
Come on, there's a lot more fish to fry!
Next is... Kazueoki, then Hinariyama, Kamekoshi, Chizonuki-koen, Hakushadai, Surikamisaki,
Your name?
Konakizari! That's it!
Natsu watched in awe as Bisco effortlessly defeated the creatures. After memorizing the station names, Bisco mounted Akutagawa and urged Milo to hurry to their next destination. Plum, saddened by Milo's departure, was reassured that one day she could become a great doctor, inspired by her kindness. Before parting, Natsu gave Bisco his father's spear as a token of gratitude. Elsewhere, Kuro was in an underground station, tracking Bisco's movements. Sensing something amiss, he snapped his fingers, prompting his guards to kneel. However, one figure didn't bow. It was Jabi, disguised among the guards. Bisco and Milo ventured into a snowy wasteland, braving the extreme cold. Spotting smoke in the distance, Bisco noticed a frozen rabbit and attempted to shoot it with his bow. Milo also tried, but his poor aim made Bisco laugh, until Milo's arrow triggered a trap that successfully caught the rabbit. Bisco, surprised but unwilling to admit Milo's skill, shrugged it off. As Bisco unearthed a weapon buried in the snow, they were shocked to reunite with Chiru, the woman who had previously deceived them. Despite being saved, Chiru remained curt, claiming she didn't want to owe them. However, it was evident she was in a desperate state. Milo offered her food and drink, asking how she ended up there. Chiru explained that she had been shot while flying toward Miyagi in a helicopter. Her struggles to survive had pushed her to the brink, and she admitted to considering giving up on life due to its harshness. Bisco admonished her, saying that someone as strong as her shouldn't give up so easily. Milo's kindness left Chiru blushing as she reluctantly accepted their help. When Bisco and Milo prepared to continue toward the Shirakawa Line underground station, Chiru surprised them by offering to guide them there. Bisco was annoyed, especially when Chiru rode on Akutagawa, leading to constant bickering that caused the crab to throw them off. Despite the tension, the group reached a trading post. At the post, Milo negotiated for supplies but was asked to trade their crab for the items they needed. Bisco refused, unwilling to give up Akutagawa. Chiru stepped in, taking over the negotiations, and managed to secure additional supplies and warm clothing. Though Bisco suspected her methods, they begrudgingly appreciated her resourcefulness. Arriving at the frozen subway entrance, Akutagawa broke through the ice to reveal a dark but intact tunnel. Bisco used a lightning mushroom to illuminate the area. Inside, they found several old train cars and began inspecting them for functionality. When they discovered a working car, Bisco called for Milo. However, neither of them understood how to operate the train, and they were surprised to find it required payment to run. Chiru intervened, impressing Milo with her mechanical knowledge. She revealed she once worked in a robotics facility but left due to overwork and low pay. Many of her co-workers succumbed to rust disease. Chiru restored the train while Bisco and Milo rested, discussing their journey and goals. Milo reflected on the joy of meeting new people and experiencing the world beyond the city. He asked about Jabi, and Bisco described him as a strict but caring mentor who was like a father to him. Chiru overheard their conversation and later joined them, curious about their willingness to risk their lives for others. Milo responded, maybe it's because of love, and because they couldn't let someone they cared about die. Milo and Chiru examined a book they had acquired from a snow trader. It contained information on creatures and the mushrooms that grew on their bodies. They found a description of the legendary Sabikui mushroom growing on a massive creature called the pipe snake. Bisco recalled Jabi's warning that the pipe snake was the largest and most dangerous of all monsters. After Chiru got the train running, she bid farewell to Bisco and Milo. Milo thanked her and asked for her real name. Embarrassed, she revealed her name was Terol, worrying they might laugh. Milo reassured her, expressing hope to meet her again someday.
Bye, and thanks again!
Akaboshi! Milo!
During their train journey, they were attacked by a swarm of oil squids. Bisco ordered Milo to help by shooting arrows at the creatures. Using a smoke arrow, Bisco managed to detach the squids clinging to the train. However, the squid leader grabbed Bisco's leg, attempting to devour him. Milo called on Akutagawa to throw a moving train car at the squid, freeing Bisco. Milo tried to shoot the monster but lacked the strength to aim accurately. Bisco steadied Milo's hand, guiding his arrow to hit the target precisely. Together, they defeated the oil squids and escaped the subway. They emerged into a vast plain called Crying Child Ravine, where they were shocked to see the pipe snake. Its enormous size exceeded their expectations. Bisco immediately planned to attack with Milo's help. However, just as they prepared to engage, Pao appeared unexpectedly, throwing the situation into chaos.